Okay, good afternoon. Welcome for the WTA class. So in the last class, we were discussing about HTML5. So HTML5 has some semantic elements or semantic tags. So we were discussing about those things in HTML. So the semantic elements we were discussing. Today we will discuss the semantic elements. I think we discussed the header and footer. So most website pages have a recognizable header and footer section, as I told you in the previous class. The header contains site logo, title, of course additional subtitles or taglines, horizontal navigation links, some navigation links, and perhaps one or two horizontal banners. So this is information contained in the header, and footer usually contains small text version like copyright notices and privacy policy of a given site, like feeds of Twitter feeds or links to social sites like Facebook, LinkedIn or other kind of social sites. So that means every website will have a header and a footer. How a document will have a header and a footer. So how do you create the header and a footer? So the header and footer are actually not the original content of a web page. So how can a search engine comes to know, for search engine optimization, how can know which part of the web page is a header, which page is a footer? Earlier, before HTML5, it was not possible to tell which are the header and footer contents and which is the original page. So, but in HTML5, we have two new elements or two new tags added, header and footer. So, the header for a given page is included in header tag and footer is actually included in a footer tag. So, these are the two. That means when search engine, the web crawler go and index the given websites, they go and check all the web pages. So based on header and footer, they will come to know these are the information related to header and footer of a page. That's how a meaning to the given website is given by header and footer, which clearly tells for this web page, this is the header and this is the footer. Earlier, there was no header and footer tags before HTML5. So it was not possible to distinguish header and footer from the original contents. Now it's actually possible. So this is example. HTML5 header and footer element can be used only for page headers and footers. So they can also be used for header and footer elements within other HTML containers such as article or section. So that means header and footer can be used for a web page, for a given page. Apart from using it for a given page, so header and footer tag can also be used in other HTML elements like article and section. So that means within article tag it is possible to use a header because there may be an article in a web page. Within that article there may be an header and there may be a footer for that article. So that's why header and footer can also be embedded in other HTML containers or elements like article or section. So if we see the below example, so clearly you can say there is a header and closing header tag here, header and closing header tag. So here we are using within header tag, so that means header contains some logo I told you or some text. Here the header contains image, so img image tag is used, source is equal to logo.gif, src source is the attribute. So value is logo.gif, alt is equal to logo. That means alt attribute, we have given some text value logo. What does it mean? Due to some reason, the logo.gif, that image can't be loaded. At that time, alternative text logo will be displayed in place of the image. So then within header, there is one more heading like H1, header H1, closing header H1, fundamentals of web development. That means in the page header, we are having a logo. So in the page header, we are having actually a logo whose name is image is logo.gif. Below it, there is something like fundamentals of web development. So then you can have any other such information in the header. which is part of the header of the page. Then there is an article tag. Again, article is a tag which is a semantic element present in only HTML5. So there are situations where so a news article may be there in a web page, which is a separate entity compared to the original web page. How do you create articles? So article can be created by using article tags in a web page. So assume in our web page there is an article. In that article, so again we can have possibly header and footers. So here again within article, this is the header within the main page, and this is the second header which is present in the article element. So which contains H2, P, and again paragraph 2 paragraph tags, and one H2 element tag is there. So some information is given in the header of this article. So this is how header and footer can be used in a page. So you understood. Next is heading groups. So H group is one more element or one more tag that can be used to group related headings together within one container. Assume there are more headers. So if you have 10 different headers, it may be grouped into 3 groups. How do you group it? So first 3 elements, first 3 headers may belong to group 1, second 3 elements belongs to group 2, and the third remaining 2 headers belongs to group 3. So how do you group it? So H group is another tag or element present in HTML5 that is used to group related headings within one container. So for example, so we have within header, so we have given H group. So some headers H1, H2 and then H group. So that means within header there is one group that is created. Similarly within article, so there is another group, H group, that is created. That means these groups, actually these headers H2 and H2 belongs to the H group within the article, whereas H1 and H2 tags present within this header are actually belongs to different headings group. So if you want to categorize different group related headings, then we use H group or header group, heading groups. So next tag is navigation tag. Navigation tag is a new tag. nav is actually name of the navigation tag that represents a section of a page that contains links to other page or parts within the same page. Okay. So that means when you want to link one page to the other page or other parts within the same page, I want to link one page to another page, or I want to link an element in the same page to another element in the same page, then we should use nav, which is a navigation element or navigation tag. Similar to new HTML semantic elements, the browser does not apply any presentation to the nav element. That means it is not a presentation tag. That means if you use something like nav element, so nothing special presentation is used by your browser. So whatever the contents is there in nav, so is similar to normal text, but only the nav field clearly tells to which page or to which location should we navigate. So nav element is used for major navigation blocks, presumably at the global and secondary navigation system. See, navigation is used for various navigation blocks like global and secondary navigation systems. So we will see that what is global and secondary navigation system in coming slides. Okay, so this is very simple. Now try to see here, there is a header tag. Within header tag, image tag is there, H1 tag is there. So next you have a ordered list, UL, which is unordered list. Unordered list, which is within that unordered list items, LI is there, where we are using anchor tag index.html, about.html and browse.html. That means there are 3 items, list items, which we have created using anchor tag. So when you click on that, like home, it will go to index.html. When you click on about, it will go to about.html. When you browse, it will go to browse.html. So now the point is, you could have used this UL tag directly, along with LI tag and anchor tag that would have created the navigation. But the point here is we have enclosed these navigation part, that is these three links, home, about and browse, actually navigate to different web page. One is to index.html, the other one is about.html, and the third one is browse.html. So previously it was not possible. If a search engine crawler, web crawler used to crawl a web page and get all the contents, it will never knows which part was a navigation part. So right now, note the point that since we have included these hyperlinks within nav, so opening nav tag, closing nav tag, and of course we have used a attribute known as role is equal to navigation. What is the role? Role is actually attribute that is assigned with the value navigation. That clearly tells that. So the role of this tag is what? Navigation to some other document. Okay. So now when the web crawlers go and search this, so if they find anything between nav and nav tag, so they will come to know this part like home, about and browse are navigation links that will take you to some other sites. So that's what our meaning to a document, which is the navigation part of your web page, can clearly indicated by nav tag. So there is no difference if you don't use nav, and if you use nav, the presentation is the same. But from a search engine perspective, so it will be easy to index a web page with nav than without a nav. So that is the point you need to note. Next is article. The article element presents a section of content that forms an independent part of a document or site. For example, a magazine or a newspaper article or a blog entry. See, now the point is, there are situations where many websites contains articles. So, for example, an education institute may have an article about some other article about some other article present in a newspaper, or some other article which is not part of actually that education institute website. So how do you do that? That is actually done by article tag. Article is a new semantic element of HTML file. So what does it say? That says that whichever the content within an article is independent part of a document or site. That means the original web page, we have a JCT web page. I am an article of Hindu newspaper. So that means here the article belongs to a newspaper, Hindu newspaper, whereas the web page is a JCT web page. So the point here is the contents of an article are not actually the contents of or independent of the JCT website. Okay, so that's how article tags are used to say that it's a separate article of newspaper or a magazine, or it may be a blog entry. So it's not actually dependent on the original web page of the website. Similarly, a section element represents a section of a document, typically with a title or heading. Section element represents a section of a document. So similarly, you might have a document, it might have different sections like title or a heading. There may be 10 subheadings or titles. So then how do you create such sections? Such sections in a document can be created using section tag or section element. So this what according to W3C, that is World Wide Web Consortium, section is a much broader element, while the article element is used for blocks of content that would potentially be read or consumed independently of other content on the page. That means article element uses to block a content, so that is independent of other contents in a page, whereas section is a broader element. Okay, that is the difference between the section and article. See, all these things you can clearly understand if you have a web page created with all this. Okay, so what I do is I do recommend you people to build a web page using all the semantic elements of HTML5 as well as the other elements of HTML5. You can learn this markup language just by coding. You need to code, write the code. So use all the tags, build a simple web page of your own. Then you will clearly understand so how each of these tags and how these elements works and what is actually each element will do. So one more thing is, another way to help you decide whether or not to use the section element is to ask yourself if it is appropriate for the elements content to be listed explicitly in the document's outline. So that means you might ask section of a document, we can use section, and the same thing, logically dividing a document, we could have used div element or div tag. Which one to use? So which one to use? So that is the point, when to use section, when to use div. So if it is appropriate for the elements content to be listed explicitly in the document outline, so you should use section. If so, then use a section, otherwise use a div. So that means if it is appropriate for the elements content to be listed explicitly in the document's outline. So if you want to list the element in the document outline, then use section, otherwise you use div. So if you really want to use the element content to be listed explicitly, then use section tag, otherwise you need to use div tag. Then comes figure and figure captions. So these are again two semantic elements of HTML5. So figure element can be used not just for images, for any type of essential content that could be moved to a different location in the page or document, and the rest of the document will still make a sense. See, so far I told you about navigation. Similarly, image. Image, you can add an image in a document by using image tag, img tag. Img tag will clearly tell you. So, but using image tag also there will be navigation. How can you say this is an image? So for a web search engine, so crawler, how can it find which are the various parts of, which are the actual figures in a web page? So that's why figure and figure captions are actually used. Apart from figure, so definitely figure option will clearly tell that content that could be moved to a different location in a page or document. See, images, when you take an image in a document, the same image can be placed. If you take a text part, a given line of text can't be interchanged to some other location. But image in a document can be placed. If it is at the top, it can be brought to the middle of the page or to the end of a page. So it doesn't change the meaning of the document, but text you can't change it. So how do you say the given content can be moved to different location? The given content can be moved to different location can be indicated by using figure tag. So figure element should not be used to wrap every image. So figure element should not be used to wrap every image, because it makes no sense to wrap the site logo or non-essential images such as banner ads and graphical embellishments within figure elements. Instead, only use the figure element for circumstances where the image has a caption and where the figure is essential to content, but its position on the page is relatively unimportant. That means we should use figure element for circumstances where image or content as a caption, but where the figure is essential to the content, but position on its page is relatively unimportant. That means if I have an image or any content that can be moved to some other location in a document, so that means there is no change in the moving. If I move that content or figure to some other place in the document, then you should indicate by figure tag. So assume I have an image. If I move the image to the different location, or if I have a content, if I move the content to a different location from top to the middle or bottom of the web page, the meaning of the element will change. So So never include such image or content using figure element. So figure element is used to indicate the image or content, meaning that it can be moved to different location, but it doesn't change the meaning of it. So if the meaning of an image or a content changes if you move to different locations, then what? Never include in figure element. So that is the point to say. So that means so assume I am having a document, this is element 1, so or some, let me write it as E1. So now this is a element 1, 3 different locations. So if I move the element 1 to this position, or if I want to move the element to this position, meaning doesn't change. So what should I do? I should enclose this. So I should enclose this in what? The figure tag. So that means when I change the element from this location to this or this location, so there is no change in meaning. No change in meaning. So now the point is there is some element like E2 element E2. So E2 or E1 can be element which will be image or some other contents. So now when I try to move from this location to this location or to this location, it will change meaning. It will change meaning. So now, should we use here figure? So don't use so the point here is it's quite clear. So that means I can use here figure option, figure tag. I won't write figure completely. So figure tag, end of figure tag. Within that, use the element E1. So any web crawler, when they see the figure tag, they will come to know that if we place the element at different location in the document, meaning doesn't change. So now, if I want to use E2, so never use E2 within figure 2. Since E2 is not in figure document, so search engines will come to know while indexing that element if moved to different location, the meaning of the element will change. So this is actually the point you are supposed to note. So that's what. So element is not only used to wrap up every image, element is used to a figure element or figure tag is used to wrap up elements or images whose meaning doesn't change if you move to the other place. Okay, then use the figure tag. If the meaning of image or element changes when we move to the other location, never enclose that element with a figure tag. So this is the point you are supposed to note. So now try to see this, the use of figure and figure options, figure captions. So there is a paragraph, this photo was taken on something 22/2011, so some paragraph is there. Then we have used figure opening figure and figure here. Within figure we have included an image using image tag, source central part, all these things break. Next we have given a figure caption, conservatory font in central part. Figure caption is another tag or another element that is used to give a caption. You might have seen any images, an image will have a caption at the bottom telling that what that image is. So if you see here, so figure caption, this is the above is image you are including. Under that we are using fig caption. Fig caption is a So element or tag enclosed within figure. So conservatory pond, if you see below this image, there is conservatory pond in Central Park, which is actually a caption given to this image. So now the point is, we have enclosed within figure. What are the elements here? The element is, two elements are there. One is image itself, the other one is image caption, that is figure caption. So these two elements are in figure. So what does it indicate? That means figure and figure caption, if you move it to the different location, the meaning doesn't change. So, and then it was wonderfully beautiful autumn day, some story is there, paragraph is there. So that means it is possible that this image and figure caption is moved below this paragraph also, meaning doesn't change. Okay. So that's why figure caption is used. So for example, I might have a text, see the figure below to understand the flow of program. I might give a flow chart and I may say, see the below image, so which show you the flow of program. Now below it I will give an image. Should I use that image with figure or a figure caption? I should never use that image with a figure. The reason is, in the text clearly indicating you see the image below. But if you take the image to the different paragraph or after different paragraph, the meaning itself will change, because below the text there will be no image. User will try to see an image and he won't find any flow chart. So then the meaning of the document will change. Okay, here it simply some image is given that can be moved to any other part. That's why figure tag is used. So something like see the image below or see the image to the right, see the image to the left. When you give a text along with such image is included, you can't move the image to different location which will change the meaning. At that time, never include that image within figure. So always figure tag indicate that the elements are a group of elements or group of images. If moved to different location, doesn't change the meaning. That means there will be no change in the meaning if you move this element to a different place in the document. And figure caption is used within figure tag, that is used to give a caption to the figure. Next is, there is one more element known as aside element, which is similar to figure element, that is used for marking up content that is separate from the main content on the page. So aside is actually what? An element set aside, we say set aside. So the point here is, there is original content. I want to make a separate markup or mark some contents aside, set aside from the main content. So then we should use aside element. So aside element is similar to figure element in that it is used for marking up content that is used to separate from the main content. I have main content, I have some content I should set aside from the main content. You should use aside element. But the difference between aside and figure is, while the figure element was used to indicate important information whose location on the page is somewhat unimportant, figure used to tell that the location on the page is of the given information is unimportant. That means we can move this information to different location, the meaning doesn't change. Aside element represents a section of a page that consists of content that is tangentially related to the content around the aside element. So what does it say? Represents a section of a page that consists of a content. That means the aside element can be used for sidebars, full quotes, group of advertising images, or any other grouping of non-essential elements. So that's what aside element could be used for. Sidebars. See, in a web page there may be advertisements, some quotation. The original document is there, advertisement may be on the left side or right side. Apart from original content, left side there may be some advertisement images, or right side images, or left side there may be some quotation, quotes, all these things. So they are not essential elements. They are non-essential elements. The essential element is the original content of a document, may be some text or a paragraph present. So how do you use that? By using aside. So that means see, I have a original content. This is the original content of a document. So this is original content of a document. This is the original content. Here I might have a document, I would have an advertisement. I will write ADV. I might have advertisement here. So this is original document. This is the document. So now the point here is you have advertisement 1, advertisement 2. Here advertisement 2 is there. So now this is the original contents. How do you set aside? This is where the person visiting the web page is reading. The advertisement on the left side or right side is not of important. You need to set aside it. So how do you do that? This advertisement and this advertisement are indicated by aside tag. So aside tag clearly tells you that this is not the main document. So this is something different that is not important as the original document. So understood. So original document is included using some other element tags like paragraph other, but these advertisements are included by using the aside tag. As I told you, it can be used for sidebars. So like sidebars, if you want to use scroll sidebar, scrolling of pages, there may be a sidebar. Some may be pull quotes. So some quotation which I may pull and see it, or advertising images, or any other grouping of non-essential elements that is not part of the original document, which is a non-essential element. Such element should be included using aside. So that means I might go to a JCD web page. The crawler may not be interested in our college website, or else you go to a website, maybe some website, so where there may be advertisement. We are not interested. The search engine is not interested in advertisement. Only the main content it should index. It should see each of the elements and index it. How do you say which is the original and which is the advertisement? So clearly aside element will be able to tell so that these are advertisements. So search engine will never store the or index the aside element because they are not the original content, they are not part of the document, so they will leave it out. So how can search engine web crawler come to know which is advertisement or which is the original document contents? By seeing the aside. That means meaning to the document is given by the semantic elements of HTML5. So far whatever we studied is actually what? Semantic elements of HTML5. So see here so many elements. These are the important questions that you get. So important questions that you arise. Let me repeat it again. So first, the header and footer. Header and footer are two semantic elements. So next heading groups. Next navigation, which is nav tag. Next articles and sections. So then whether when to use section versus that is other point. Figure and figure captions. Then aside. So these are the elements. So these are actually what? So these are actually the HTML5 semantic elements. That means HTML5 semantic tags. Semantic tag means the tags that gives meaning to a document. Such a tag we call it as semantic tag or semantic element. Okay, if you are not sure, so what I recommend you is go to W3 Schools use the examples present there. See all the examples. For example, you can go and search for it. For example, I want to see aside tag. See HTML5 aside tag. Example is given. Some paragraph is there. My family had visited the Epcot Center paragraph tag. So next, aside, within aside, something is there. H4. Epcot is a theme park of Walt Disney Resort, something. See, this is the original content is this paragraph. I want to set aside this part, which is not the part of original document. So then we have used aside. Within aside, we have used H4P, these two H4 and paragraph that are different from the original paragraph. So if you want to run that, you can click it on, try it yourself. So say, the point is the original content is here, but Epcot Center is what? Something that is not related to this. That means this may be an advertisement or some content that is set aside. Here, related to text, they have used aside. It is possible that I can use an image, advertisement image within a aside, and I can give the location on the left side or right side. Using CSS, I can specify the location at which part that advertisement should be there. But note that that is indicated by, this is not main document, this is a set aside document. How do you say that? That is indicated by the aside tag or aside element. So like this, every tag that we have discussed, figure captions, okay. So similarly, figure caption, you can go and see the figure. So figure tag, HTML figure tag is there. See here, figure tag, image is there, figure caption is used to mark a photo in a document and element to define a caption for the. Okay. So here only figure is used, but note that what does it indicate? It indicates that the image and image caption can move to any other location of the document. The meaning doesn't change. So here try it yourself. So the figure and figure caption is given here. This is figure and figure caption. If I move to some other part, the meaning doesn't change. You can of course note the point that here you can modify the contents here, type here, this is the editor. In the browser itself we have W3 Schools editor, type, rechange it, and finally you can run it, so that will modify it. So like that, whatever the documents that we have discussed so far, whether aside, so figure and figure captions, sections, articles and sections, navigation, nav tag, H group, header and footer. So these are semantic elements of HTML5. So the question may be, with examples, explain the semantic tags of HTML5. So what are semantic tags or what are semantic elements? So okay, here I am using the tags with exchange for element. I told you an element consists of contents and controls. Control is tag or tag name. So content is the content, which may be text, image or anything that is part of a tag is contents. So that's why in HTML we refer the elements and tags interchangeably. So tags are usually part of an element, okay. But apart from tags, we should also have contents, okay. So that's about this chapter on HTML5. See, here very briefly we have discussed about HTML5, not all the tags. You may be wondering where are the other. Most important thing we discussed is semantic elements, very quick tour of HTML. The point is where to study all the tags. So here you can go to HTML by alphabet wise. So basics, you can learn all the tags you want. So you can execute these things, you can learn heading, paragraph tags, like that, headings, different types of headings. So H1, H2 like that, different headings, how to display that by using this. Similarly, paragraphs, styles, you go through all these things. So these are the important things. Forms and other things we will discuss there in DOM in the coming chapters, but at least basic tags can be learned in W3 schools, so easily you can learn that. Okay. So with that, we'll stop it. Next class we'll go for CSS cascading style sheet. But before that, I want to show you. So I have included some files as I told you earlier. The class materials I have included programs, WTA lab materials here, question papers of WTA question papers here, 3 question papers you can download there. Okay, then theory slides like chapter 2 PPT, source code and syllabus copy is here. So all these slides I will put it here. Okay. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Any doubts? And students, I don't know how many need to take the attendance. Students are not regular. Nearly 40% of the students are not attending. You tell them, intimate them, attendance. I have already every class I have taken the attendance. In the next class, I will give you consolidated attendance. What you have attendance you have got in theory as well as lab. Okay, the same attendance will be continued once you start attending the class. So this attendance will also be added to the regular class attendance, online attendance. So you may find shortage of attendance. So that is the reason you people should be regular to the class. And some people join the meeting and some point of time, so you may leave it. All things are recorded here. When you joined and when you left the meeting is also recorded here. Okay. So before I conclude, if you have any questions, so you please ask me any questions you are having. Any questions? Any doubts? Any problems you are facing in at least Teams? See, one point is you can download the video. Download the video of a regular class there in Microsoft Teams. Do you know that? Some of you can unmute and speak. No one is speaking. Someone is there. Prithviraj? Prithviraj. Is not there? I don't think that they are listening. Okay. Register number 90? 90. Who is register number 1SJ17 IS 1SJ17 IS 090? Raunak Raj Dubey?
Present, sir. Sir,
Any questions? Anything you are finding difficult in Microsoft Teams?
No, sir. Everything is fine, sir.
Everything fine. Audio and video. Have you downloaded the video? Is it possible to download the video of the classes?
Yes, sir. It gets saved in your downloads folder, sir. Whole meeting.
So it's there. Which folder?
Sir, in the post when you go and you download no meeting.
That's what. See, in
Yes,
the
sir.
previous class, for example, previous WTA lab, I can say 9 replies is there. If I click on that, so there is a download option is there. Okay.
Yes,
so why I told you that is for everyone. that due to some reason, due to bandwidth problem or network problem, you are unable to connect or see the live classes. So you can download from Microsoft Teams, you can download there. Okay, it will be just for 21 days. Within that, you can download it and you can view the lecture at any point of time. Okay, so that's the point I need to say. So if you have no doubts, I will continue in the next class. Okay, thank you. I'll end the meeting.